Good afternoon. Afternoon, Q.
Wonderful. Good afternoon, Brent, and good afternoon, everyone out there who's joined us. Welcome to the Family Health Show brought to you by True Temperance International. True Temperance International is a ministry that is family focused and talks about lifestyle and health. My name is Novani Shomula, or just simply Q, if you will. And I'll be your host for today, together with my brother. Over to you.
Brent. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Brent Hart. I'm here in sunny South Africa. Welcome, everyone. I hope you enjoy the show today. I'm sure we're going to be in for a good message today. So welcome.
Oh, yes, welcome. Today's hosting is a South African affair. We're both in South Africa, though in different parts of the country. So before we go into the actual show itself, we'd just like to read a brief disclaimer, something that is necessary for us over.
Yes, let's go through the disclaimer first with the idea there, Q. So our disclaimer today is as follows. Only a physician can diagnose, treat, and prescribe for illness or disease. Any information disclosed or discussed at the TT Zoom talk show are for educational and informational purposes only. Please continue to seek professional medical advice from your general practitioner regarding any illness or disease that you may suffer from.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Once more, welcome and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending which part of the world you're in. We welcome you to the Family Health Show brought to you by True Temperance International. Today's guest is no new face to those who've been with us before, but if you're new to her, it's Sister Joan Cornwall. Before I bring Sister Joan Cornwall on, we do have a few messages to share with you. All right, so this is next week's show. This poster is the poster for next week's show. We're going to have renowned dentist, Dr. Travis Trammell, speaking to us about oral health. And the title of the show is Your Mouth, Is It in Good Hands?
Yeah, and then we've got our various groups that we have for the viewers to be able to go on. So we have the links over there to the TTR Women's Wellness Group. Then we also have a TTR Men's Wellness Group that you can go on, a community of men that all come together to learn about health and wellness. And then we also have the TTI Spiritual group that you can also come on to join. Those are all on Telegram, as you can see. So you can.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
Great, and we'd just like to give thanks to every single one of you that is present here with us, as well as those that have given us support throughout the life of this initiative, whether it's financial support, support in prayers, moral support, and those that have shared the posters and the invitations as you receive them. Thank you very much. We really appreciate every single bit of effort that you put in making True Temperance International the effective ministry that it is.
Yes, and this is our spiritual weekly Bible study that we are offering at the moment with the title Character Building in the Sanctuary that Lewis Harris and Alvin McQueen are running, which takes place on a Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. UK time. Very, very interesting topic. A lot to learn from the sanctuary, and yes, a lot of valuable information that can come out of that. So we all encourage you to hop on a Tuesday evening from 7 till 8:30 UK time. So all welcome to join with that as well.
Great. True Temperance International is something for the mind, body, and soul. And so while we meet on Saturdays to discuss health in general, and then we meet on Tuesdays to speak of the spiritual elements, on Thursdays we have practical lessons on how to use essential oils for our health. And this Thursday's essential oils discussion is going to be held by Charlene, Samantha, and Sharon and Alvin. It'll be at 7 p.m. UK time. It will be speaking about the power of essential oils and gallbladder health. The power of essential oils and gallbladder health. You do not want to miss that one. So please tune in again this coming Thursday.
Sorry, just need to clarify there. That's a poster from a couple of weeks ago. The topic is still yet to be arranged, so I should have put that on there, but you will not be disappointed anyway. Either way, it's going to be good. So come and learn about the immune system of the plants that we can benefit from. And the last slide.
Excellent. And our last advert is regarding the upcoming webinar by the Association of Health Reformers that's going to be held on Tuesday, the 27th of July. This is on herb safety and efficacy. Now, those of you who were here with us last Saturday, will remember the powerful and very informative session that we had with Sister Marsha Mendoza. So she's going to be again holding this particular seminar, so you don't want to miss that, especially if you saw how engaging last week was. This is an expansion into herb safety and efficacy with Sister Marsha Mendoza by the Association of Health Reformers. All right, thank you very much. Now, again, speaking of Sister Mendoza, she did teach us about the BC.
Yeah.
The BCD of weeds. And Brent, what do the B, C, and D stand for?
Well, B is for burdock, C is for cleavers, and D is for dandelion. And I was wondering before that presentation, why wasn't it the A, B, C, D? And so it's the B, C, D. And yeah, what a wonderful presentation with regards to weeds that we will throw away in our gardens and how valuable they are to our everyday health. Thank you. It's a lot of.
It was an amazing lesson, and it taught me something. And thank you for going in and then researching which ones we could find out here in South Africa, and particularly the B and the D. The C is not something that we find out here. So the burdock and the dandelion is available in South Africa, but the BCD is in the UK. I'm sure if you research in your part of the world, you'll find those. So we had a challenge last week after the fact, and it was to say, then are you going to go and try and find any of these weeds that we've actually taken for granted and maybe removed from our gardens, thinking this is just a nuisance? So if anyone was able to find some burdock or some cleaver or some dandelion, you're welcome now to unmute your microphone and tell us how that went for you and what you used them for. It's very quiet out there.
Anyone? Yeah, there's also a few useful apps going around with regards to how you can tell which plants or which actual plants or trees or what have you are medicinal and the names of them and how they can be used. But I wonder if anyone went out this week and actually picked anything for themselves.
Tell you what, I'll
Yes,
testify.
I did.
Oh, yes.
Hello.
Hi.
I picked some dandelions.
Oh, Jacqueline.
The flowers. I picked the flowers, dried them,
Yeah.
then poured melted coconut oil on them and let
Okay.
it steep. And I turned it into a balm, like a little cream. It's amazing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wonderful, Jacqueline. That sounds very fascinating.
Absolutely. They're everywhere. So I found some nice dandelions and dried them out.
Okay.
And make them into and the balm is so good. It's so soothing. So thank you for last week. I'm now going to try and find cleavers and burdock next.
Well done.
Okay.
Well done. Well done, Jacqueline. Thank you very
Wow.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for the cream and the parcels that you sent through, Jackie. They finally arrived a few weeks back.
You're more than welcome. I hope you enjoy them all.
Yes, no, thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're more than welcome. And thanks again.
Anybody else?
I see Ashante Wilson. They're saying she's unable to unmute her microphone.
Oh.
I think she
If
said
there's anyone else.
I think she said she is able.
Oh, she's able.
Because
Oh.
I asked, is everybody able? So she said yes.
All right. Is there someone else who went and looked for these weeds or who came across them? I don't think you really have to really look hard.
Good morning. Happy Sabbath.
Good morning, Sister Diane. Happy Sabbath to you.
Actually, it's still morning here. I'm not sure what time it is for you there.
Where's here?
But yeah, I didn't have to look. I have the burdock and dandelion growing in my yard. So the burdock I dried actually and made a tea with the dandelion roots. And that's to help with my blood cleansing and liver. And the dandelion leaves, I just put in my salad and I ate it like that.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. And how does that dandelion? How do the dandelion flowers taste in the salad? Anything distinct?
Well, I didn't use too much because it is bitter. Yeah, the leaves are bitter. The roots are not. I don't find them bitter at all, but the leaves are bitter.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, there's a recipe out there. A bit of dandelion in the salad.
And the tea, Diane, did you just follow the directions that we gave on last week's presentation when you did the tea up?
Yes, I did. For the amounts, you're referring to the amounts to be used?
2 to 8 grams.
Yes, I did. I have a kitchen scale.
Yes.
So I used that.
Wow. Good. And
so that was good.
A bit of honey in the tea, or?
Yes, just a little bit. I'm not having too many sweets right now, but yeah, just a little bit of honey.
Brilliant.
So it was good.
Good.
That does sound like something very interesting, and I think I'd like to try that for myself. Thank you very much for those testimonies. Is there somebody else who might have tried something with our BCD herbs or weeds before we introduce our speaker? Going once, going twice. All right, thank you very much. Once again, to those who've just joined us, welcome to the True Temperance International Family Health Show. We are graced today by Sister Joan Cornwall, who's going to be speaking to us about the original medicine. Over to you, Sister Joan. Sister Joan, whenever you're ready.
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you now. Thanks, and we see you too.
Yes, good. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you so much to TTI for allowing me to be on the program. I have to say that I'm an avid follower of TTI. I've learned quite a lot. And yes, you mentioned at the top of the show that my colleague Marcia Mendoza was on last week, and she was talking about the wonderful world of BCD, which is burdock, cleavers, and dandelion. And certainly in my practice, I use it a lot, and we also use it a lot at Manor House. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Joan Cornwall. I'm a herbal practitioner, and I've been practicing now for almost 5 years. And I have to say that along the way, I have learned how God's way is, for me, in my experience, the best way. And I know there are a lot of people who may argue with that fact, but actually I've proven it. And so that is why I believe in it. Also, I'm the centre manager at Manor House based in Stoke-on-Trent, which is a health, education and wellness centre. And I'm also busy working with the Association of Health Reformers. So once again, thank you. I want to just say a quick word of prayer before we start. And also if those of you in the background can be admitting the people as they come on, because I can see them flashing up on my screen. So thank you, dear Heavenly Father, for allowing me to be here, dear Lord, to present what is, dear Lord, sometimes a very difficult subject, the original medicine. And dear Lord God, I know from my experience and what you have taught me that, dear Heavenly Father, you have never let us down. You have always provided these herbs, dear Lord, these medicines to heal the bodies that you expect us to worship you with. And I pray for all those who are yet to come on the show, dear Lord, the viewers, the listeners. And I pray that I will present it in such a way that they will be blessed, dear Lord, and they will have full understanding. In the name of Jesus, I pray unto you. Amen. So I'm just about now to share my screen with you all. And can you see it? You should be able to see my presentation.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Excellent.
Yes, we can.
So the original medicine. Why am I saying the original medicine? Of course, there is an original medicine. We have two medicines in the world. We have the original medicine from a biblical perspective, and then we have the allopathic medicine, the so-called medicine in the general arena. And both have their place at specific times. One is called alternative medicine. And I hope that my presentation will help you to understand what is the really alternative medicine and what is the true or original medicine. So this is just the outline. What does the Bible say? How did we get here? And a living sacrifice. So this verse, that thy way may be known upon earth, thy saving health among all nations. And that is taken from Psalms 67, verse 2. And just a quick story is when I first heard this verse being read from a friend of ours called Danella. She came to the church where I was a member, or I'm still a member. She came and she was supporting a health day. And I remember when my husband and I, we were in our Bible, and she read out this verse, that thy way may be known upon earth, thy saving health among all nations. It actually read very differently in the Bible that we were using at the time. And I kid you not, from that time, we got rid of that Bible and replaced it with the King James Version because it read differently. And when something reads differently, especially from the word of God, we tend to have a different understanding. And so this for me started to open up my eyes in terms of health. That thy way, thank you, Lord, may be known upon earth, thy saving health among all nations. So for years, hydrotherapy has been a respected method of treatment in the United States. The reading of a paper before the Pharmacology and Therapeutics section of the American Medical Association in May 1927 illustrates the respect with which the method was treated in the early part of the century. Dr. Guy Hinsdale stated, water may act as a powerful stimulus according to its temperature. And he went on to say that the neutral or tepid bath used for a long period was effective in treating excited mental cases. Okay, so that's hydrotherapy. So I wanted to bring it back to what the Bible says, and maybe there are instances, and there are some instances of hydrotherapy or water being used to heal. Many of you may know of the story of Naaman. Then went he down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God, Elisha. And his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. And he returned to the man of God, he and all his company, and came and stood before him. And he said, listen to what he said, behold, now I know that there is no God in all the earth but in Israel. And this is taken from 2 Kings 5, 14 and 15. You see, it was the action. It was the action of him obeying, going into the water as he was instructed, using the hydrotherapy, using the water treatment, and his skin became clean. And he was amazed, and he gave thanks to God. The Jordan River, from which the Dead Sea receives nearly all its water, flows from the north into the lake. The minerals that can be found in the Dead Sea water are magnesium, sodium, calcium, and potassium. But the highest concentration is that of the electrolytes, chloride and bromide. And you should ought to know that bromide is used in cases of epilepsy today. Magnesium, calcium, and potassium are all skin-friendly minerals that can be found in sea salt. These minerals are great benefits of salt water since they help combat acne-causing bacteria, skin infections, and speed up the healing process. That is the story of Naaman. Water therapy. He was clean. He became clean. And he gave thanks to God. Now let's look at clay, bentonite clay. Removing toxins from the body, treating oily skin and acne, detoxifying the skin, treating poison ivy, aiding in weight loss, relieving constipation, treating diarrhea, treating diaper rash, remove lead and heavy metals from the body. That is the benefits, or are the benefits of bentonite clay. Scientists believe that bentonite clay works by absorbing oils and dirt from the skin. The theory is that bentonite clay absorbs materials by sticking to their molecules or ions. As the clay leaves the body, it takes the toxin or other molecules with it. When a person uses it on the skin, bentonite clay may have the power to absorb oils and bacteria. When they consume the clay, it may absorb toxins or other unwanted substances from the digestive tract. Bentonite clay contains natural minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and iron, which may provide additional benefits. And I have to say that we use bentonite clay on some of our health guests, especially when they present with specific issues or ailments. And I've actually used bentonite clay in my own personal practice. And we have seen great results with the bentonite clay. So what does the Bible say about clay? So clay heals the blind man. When he had thus spoken, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay, and said unto him, go, wash in the pool of Siloam, which is by interpretation sent. He went his way therefore and washed and came seeing. Now, what you see on my right of the screen is actually the pool of Siloam, and they discovered it in 2004. Clay minerals are composed essentially of silica, alumina, or magnesia, or both, and water, but iron substitutes for aluminum and magnesium in varying degrees, and appreciable quantities of potassium, sodium, and calcium are frequently present as well. So that is the clay. Interestingly, saliva contains cell-derived tissue factor and many compounds that are antibacterial or promote healing. Salivary tissue factor associated with microvesicles shed from cells in the mouth and promotes wound healing. So now let's go on to figs. Let's go on to figs. So figs are high in natural sugars, minerals, and soluble fiber. Figs are rich in minerals including potassium, calcium, magnesium, iron, and copper, and are a good source of antioxidant vitamins A and K that contribute to health and wellness. Have you noticed that some of these minerals are coming up time and time again? The water, or the River Jordan, and then the pool and the clay. Now we're looking at figs. So how was figs used in the Bible? Let's look at the story of two kings, King Hezekiah and King Asa. King Hezekiah had a perfect heart. King Asa also had a perfect heart. King Hezekiah, he prayed to the Lord in his hour of need. King Asa, he did not seek or pray to God in his sickness. King Hezekiah, he trusted the Lord and used a poultice of figs to place on his boil and was healed. King Asa, he suffered for 2 years and died in excruciating pain, slowly rotting away. So here is a tale of two kings. Why did Hezekiah pray to the Lord and trust? Why did not King Asa? So those are two different stories, but both had a perfect heart. One believed in the medicinal properties of the fig, and the other one did not. I just wanted to show this illustration. Many of the elements found throughout nature are also found within the body. This is the chemical composition of the average adult human body in terms of elements and also compounds. Okay, if someone could, I am going to, okay, right, thank you. It says 62% water, but it's interesting to know that the earth is 75% water and the human body is made up of 75% water. So listen to this. And by the river, upon the bank thereof, on this side and on that side shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to his months, seasons, because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaf thereof for medicine. So I'm just going to give a little background on what naturopathic medicine is. The goal of naturopathic medicine is to treat the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. That's the complete whole person. It also aims to heal, you notice the word heal, the root causes of an illness, not just the symptoms. So we don't endeavor to stop the symptoms. We endeavor to find the root cause of what is causing those symptoms, what is causing the illness. A naturopathic doctor may spend 1 to 2 hours examining you. He'll ask questions about your health history, stress levels, and lifestyle habits. He may order lab tests. Afterwards, he'll discuss your personal health plan. Naturopathic medicine focuses on education and prevention. So your doctor may give you a diet, exercise, or stress management tips. He might use complementary medicine like homeopathy and herbal medicine. In addition to naturopathic treatments, he may also touch, such as massage. So there you find what the naturopathic person does in naturopathic medicine. They may spend 1 to 2 hours examining you. That's a long time. But like I said before, naturopaths want to get to the root cause, asking you for a full health history, what may have caused the problem, when did it start, and then they're looking at your mind and your body and your soul. So in allopathic medicine, this refers to a system in which medical doctors and other healthcare professionals, such as nurses, pharmacists, and therapists, treat symptoms and diseases using drugs, radiation, or surgery, also called biomedicine, conventional medicine, mainstream medicine, orthodox medicine, and Western medicine. Allopathic physicians receive an MD. So their responsibilities are various and relate to the maintenance of health, including both acute care and prevention. Allopathic physicians can choose to practice in a number of different specialty areas, as well as build a career in teaching or research. So before I continue, I am sure that a disclaimer was done at the beginning, but I'm going to repeat it. What you will see in this presentation is for educational purposes only. And if you are under the care of a physician, you will continue that care under the physician. Do not take what is being said in all of the presentation or part of the presentation as a reason to change any course of your journey with your physician. So, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and perfect will of God. So let's look at these two words, conform and transform. When I was 19 years old, I think it was 18 and a half, 19 years old, I remember when I stumbled across this scripture, and it has never meant anything more to me than now, this scripture alone, presenting our bodies as a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. So conform, let's look at conform. So conform is to act in accordance or harmony, to comply to rules, to act in accordance with prevailing standards, attitudes, practices, etc. of society or a group. One has to conform in order to succeed in this company, to be or become similar. Listen to this, to become similar in form, nature, or character. So that's conformity, conform. Did God create us to look all alike? No, not at all. When Paul wrote that scripture, that chapter, Romans chapter 12, I believe it was even more for us now than ever before. Conformity. Why would we want to look like everybody else? Why would we want to do like everybody else? Are we not a peculiar people? I can't hear you, but I'm sure that you're saying, yes, we are. We are part of a holy nation, and we as people have been instructed to be transformed. to change in form, in appearance or structure, metamorphose, to change in condition, in nature or character, convert, to change into another substance, transmute. So you have conform and transform. And if we conform, then who are we following? We are a peculiar people, a holy nation. Hold that thought. And so we are living in tumultuous times. And there you see two roads. Am I conforming? Am I a conformist? Or am I a transformist? Which road leads to health holistically? Mind, body, and soul. Ellen White, in Testimonies for the Church, she says, there are many ways of practicing the healing art, but there is only one way that heaven approves. God's remedies are the simple agencies of nature that will not tax or debilitate the system through their powerful properties. Through their powerful properties. We heard about the wonderful world of burdock, cleavers, and dandelion, the wonderful world of BCD that my wonderful colleague Marcia Mendoza presented on last week, and it was an excellent presentation. Those healing herbs, and I said healing herbs, they do not debilitate the system. And yes, they have powerful properties, but for the good. So go up into Gilead and take balm, O Virgin, the daughter of Egypt. In vain shalt thou use many medicines, for thou shalt not be cured. Jeremiah 46:11. So the idea that drugs cure disease has taken such a hold of the mind of doctors and their patients that such a thought as possibly nature can do something for herself if given a chance never crosses the threshold of their understanding. There are so many people who find it, their mind boggles if you say to them, your swelling in your leg or your ankle can be reduced by using cabbage. And they look at you, cabbage? Yes, cabbage. Rather than take something over the counter, try the things of nature. And it does work. It does work because of the wonderful properties that cabbage actually contains. The fact is, nature does all the curing that is done. There is not, never was, nor ever will be a drug that will cure a disease. And you know something? I know that's very true. Because certainly in my experience and my practice, certainly I have seen it time and time again, even the people that are close to me. How is it possible? How is it possible, people? Listen to me. How is it possible that you can be on the same medication for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years? How is it possible? Where is the curing? Where is the curing? Where has the curing taken place? Where has the healing taken place? That is the question. That is the question that all of us should ask of ourselves. If something is not giving you the cure or the healing that you need, something is wrong. Something is wrong. Something has gone wrong. Something has gone wrong. Nobody should be told by anybody, and I make no apologies for saying this, nobody should be telling anybody that you have to be on this drug for life. Nobody. There are simple ways that you can change your lifestyle. TTI talks about it week after week after week. And I know some of you on this platform have heard it all before. The 8 laws of health, changing the way that we do things, what goes into our mouths, taking in nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, beautiful sunshine in the United Kingdom right now. temperance, air, rest, trusting in God. If even someone starts with those small 8 steps, they will start to feel a transformation, There is no drug that will cure a disease. There is no drug that will cure a disease. So natural remedies require time to apply and a simple skill that demands carefulness more than expertise. Because few are willing to give the time and care, the natural remedies are dying out from among us. I'm going to read that again. Listen to me carefully, folks. Natural remedies require time to apply and a simple skill that demands carefulness more than expertise. Because few are willing to give the time and care, the natural remedies are dying out from among us. This should not be. It is not that natural remedies are less effective than drug remedies, but drug administration makes personal nursing care much less, listen to this, necessary. It is not that natural remedies are less effective than drug remedies, but drug administration makes personal nursing care, holding the hands of someone, touching them, praying with them, making them feel as if life is worth living, bending down and giving them a foot bath, taking them to the bathtub, pouring water into that bathtub, giving them a fever bath so that the body can get heated to 39 degrees centigrade, which may take 20, 30 minutes, just so that their body can get into the fighting mode. Who has time for that? Who has time for that, especially in the general domain of healthcare? Who has time for that? When there used to be a sitz bath, and you'll be the sitz baths in the hospitals, and they'll be there with the patient to make sure that their lower section can be heated in water so that they can be healed, and that their reproductive system can get the blood flowing there and start to remove infection. Who has time for that? So listen, simple remedies are not as dramatic, but they are generally more effective, and they have far fewer side effects. They are, however, usually less stimulating to the senses. So are we saying that drugs are stimulating? I remember, some of you have heard it before, when I talked about the fact that I was diagnosed with asthma and I was given salbutamol. And I remember when the nurse showed me how to use it. And when I sat and she told me to take the puffs in, my head became light. I felt woozy. The room spun a little. And you know what the response was? That's normal. I'll leave it there. So here is Battle Creek Sanitarium. The Battle Creek Sanitarium was built in 1878, and it was famous for its success in treating diseases with simple remedies. Royalty from Europe, influential Americans, and many common people flocked to Battle Creek to fill the more than 900 beds of the sanitarium. That is more than the size of even some of the biggest hospitals in the world right now. That was a huge sanitarium. So the use of water, body rubs, short fasts, sunshine and exercise are not usually classified as medical treatment. Now, this has been taken from Dr. Agatha and Dr. Calvin Thrash. They are medical doctors who then started to build their career in natural remedies. So the use of water, body rubs, short fasts, sunshine and exercise, some of the 8 laws of health, are not usually classified as medical treatment. It has been forgotten, however, that the proper use of hydrotherapy, passive and active exercises, specific controls of the diet, massage, and other remedies were being successfully applied for such illnesses as pneumonia, rheumatic fever, typhoid, and polio before the antibiotic era. So Roman baths, some of you may have heard of the Roman baths. We have a place called Bath in the United Kingdom that is still frequented by tourists for the old monuments and structures. So it was not for recreation, but for health and the treatment of disease that the Romans went to the bath houses. In the baths, the Romans practiced physical therapy for illness. They especially used hydrotherapy as a treatment modality, accounting for the name of their treatment centers. Now, here is a quote from Dr. Alan Greenberg, a medical doctor. Some may say it's controversial, but it's a quote that I will share with you. As a retired physician, I can honestly say that unless you are in a serious accident, your best chance of living to a ripe old age is to avoid doctors and hospitals and learn nutrition, herbal medicine, and other forms of natural medicine, unless you are fortunate enough to have a naturopathic physician available. Almost all drugs are toxic and are designed only to treat symptoms and not to cure anyone. And yet the Bible talks about healing. The Bible talks about curing. So, did you know? Some data here. More than 1,700 deaths are due to avoidable medication errors in England each year. Many are human errors that are likely to be the result of exhaustion or burnout, said a doctor from the Medical Protection Society. And actually, I have to say, I didn't put it up on this slide, it's become worse due to the pandemic. There are lots of nurses and doctors that are suffering from burnout, and they're saying that actually errors are on the increase. Avoidable medication errors cost 1,700 lives and more than £98 million to the NHS in England every year, research suggests. National estimates published online in the BMJ, that's the British Medical Journal, Quality and Safety Journal, show more than 237 million medication errors are made a year. The errors which could be caused during the prescribing, dispensing, administration, or monitoring part of the process are recognized as a global issue, with the World Health Organization, commonly known as the WHO, aiming to halve the level of severe avoidable harm caused by the mistakes between 2017 and 2022. So, according to this quote, the responsibility for taking drugs is ours, not the doctor's. We are told that we are not excusable. If through ignorance we destroy God's building, that's the temple, by taking into our stomachs poisonous drugs under a variety of names we do not understand. It is our duty to refuse all such prescriptions. How many of us has received a prescription, a long list of prescription? How many of us actually sit down with the doctor and ask him and her, what are the meaning of these words? I don't understand. And what are the side effects? Can you give me the side effects of this? How many of us do that? It is our responsibility, people. 2, ask questions. The responsibility for taking drugs is ours, not the doctor's, because you know, if something happens, didn't you read the small print? Will be the question asked. Read the small print, read it. Well, if that's going to happen to me, why am I taking it? You must always ask the question. Take control of your health. If you are in a situation where you do have to go to them, they don't mind you asking them questions at all. And certainly make sure you look at the list. Make sure you know what is taking place, because in my experience, a lot of the illnesses or issues that someone has when I start to highlight the side effects, they'll say, oh my gosh, I know that's happening to me. Yeah, that's happening to me. Oh gosh, this is why I'm feeling this way. So always look at the side effects, or ask your doctor questions, please. So Eli Lilly, I believe his pharmaceutical company, Lilly in Indianapolis, way back then, they came out with their first polio drug or vaccine. So this is what he said. He's a founder of one of America's largest drug companies. A drug without side effects is no drug at all. A drug without side effects is no drug at all. So that denotes to me that drug isn't a drug without side effects. You have to have the side effects. Do you really? Do you really have to go through life having side effects? So I'm going to give you an example. I'm not going to name the medication just in case members of our audience are on it. So I will not do that. But I actually took this from someone who told me that they were on this particular medication. And I remember when I saw them just the other day, they said that they were feeling dizzy, they were getting pain, they were feeling tired, they just weren't feeling right at all. And I said to them, have you spoken to your doctor? And they said, yes. But they said, I should continue taking it because the benefits outweigh the risks. So this is the medication this person is on. This is what they're on. There was no suggestion of them coming off it, by the way. Blurred vision, dry mouth, increased sensitivity of the skin to the sun, muscle spasm, cramps, drowsiness, dizziness, decreased appetite, headache, diarrhea, stomach cramps, nervousness, a feeling of pins and needles on the skin, generalized weakness, ringing in the ears, irritation of the mouth, irritation of the stomach or intestines, constipation, a spasm of the reta, itching, muscle weakness, sensation of spinning or whirling, fever, nausea, vomiting, high amount of uric acid in the blood, high blood sugar. That's a long list. And you know, not all of it is on it, because another side effect of the medication is that they had a rash and sloughing of the skin to the point where they had to put a covering on their sofa. Sloughing of the skin. So they're doing that and their skin is like scaling. It's like it's scaling. So I asked the question, did your doctor give you the side effects? No. And they said, had he or she done that, I would have questioned them more, or probably would not have wanted to be on it and tried another way. That's a long list, people. That is a long list. It's interesting that medication that is used to cure or to heal has created other issues, which you can see right there. And that is a real life case study. So it's about safety and risk. It's about safety and risk. I know there is safety in Jesus Christ. I know there is safety. I know that God has provided so many herbs, wonderful herbs for the use of man, And the mind boggles these days. The mind boggles. People don't understand that simple remedies work. Why? Because they are so used to using other methods. And the majority of these methods may cause harm. People may say, why are you talking like that? You have no right to say that. Well, actually, let me tell you something. As God's people, we have a duty. We have a duty to glorify him by using the things that he gave us in the first place to allow someone to be whole in mind, body, and spirit. Even Hippocrates said, You treat the people and you do no harm. You do no harm. Let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. A practice that is laying the foundation of a vast amount of disease and of even more serious evils is the free use of poisonous drugs. When attacked by disease, many will not take the trouble to search out the cause of their illness. Their chief anxiety is to rid themselves of pain and inconvenience. So they resort to patent nostrums of whose real properties they know little, or they apply to a physician for some remedy to counteract the result of their misdoing, but with no thought of making a change in their unhealthful habits. If immediate benefit is not realized, another medicine is tried, and then another, and thus the evil continues. So someone said, healthcare is not as safe as it should be. A substantial Healthcare is not as safe as it should be. A substantial body of evidence points to medical errors as a leading cause of death and injury. Now, you may say, where on earth did you get this from? I got it off the internet, and they have provided all of this information. So I am definitely not making it up. You can actually find it for yourself. Even the data about 237 million errors, 1,700 deaths can be found on their own websites, can be found in their data, and I am just bringing this to you. So, one moment. Okay. So Dr. Wendell Holmes, I firmly believe that if the whole materia medica could be sunk to the bottom of the sea, it would be all the better for mankind and all the worse for fishes. And I'm just going to play this here. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. And furthermore, and God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is a fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. I want us to remember that despite what is taking place, if we go back to God's natural way of healing, He will bless our efforts. He will bless our efforts. I am now going to stop sharing my screen for now, and we can have our discussion.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sister Cornwall. That was very insightful. You've given us serious food for thought. Particularly that quote by Dr. Greenberg was an eye-opener for me, because I've never stopped to question the efficacy of drug medicines, especially chronic drug medicines. If you're saying you're healing me, why would you give me this thing and tell me I got to take it for the rest of my life? But you're meant to heal. So that's something that we're not taught, not even at a school level. So can you imagine trying to apply that in our daily lives? Before I open the floor to everybody else for participation and for their inputs, I just wanted to say that if you're not a part of the TTI program, please join the groups that were advertised earlier at the beginning of our show, the Telegram group, the Telegram groups for the men, for the ladies, and the spiritual health groups. They've been split into the men and the ladies for obvious reasons in terms of discretion, regarding the topics. And also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If, for example, there's a slide that you want to see that was on today and you missed it, the recording is there on YouTube, so you can just get on there and take a screenshot and use that to the betterment of your life. Thank you once more, Sister Cornwall. I'm going to open up if somebody has any questions or any inputs regarding today's conversation, or would like to ask Joan some questions. Please, this is your moment. You can unmute your microphone, introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and go ahead and speak.
Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer. What I really like is just to get the website address that she put concerning the, the one where there was a statement made about drugs. I was trying to write it down, but I only get part of it. So if you could just bring back that slide on for me, I would be very grateful. Not that one, the one that said www.ncbi. That's the one I'm after.
All right, Sister Joan, you've just heard the request. I think I recall the slide she's speaking of, the one that had the nih.gov at the end.
That's it. I could really use that concerning this vaccine.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I could really refer to this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
There it is.
Thank you. I'm just quickly writing it down.
No, take your time, it's fine.
That is a worrying quotation. Anyway, if anyone else has something that they'd like to inquire, please go ahead, unmute, introduce yourself and ask.
Hi, it's Lucy here from Manor House.
Hi, Lucille.
Hi, thanks, Joan. Brilliant presentation. Really loved it, every bit of it. Excellent. Well done. And I agree with everything that you said about drugs. We should really try and avoid using drugs as much as possible. And your quote about the drug, if we take drugs, we are responsible for taking the drugs and not the doctors. However, I just want to make one point that sometimes when we're sick and we go to see a doctor or consultant and he says to us, you have no other alternative. And sometimes we make decisions without thinking about them and fully evaluating those decisions. So sometimes we make decisions, for instance, to have a body part removed. For instance, you may make a decision to have a thyroidectomy or get part of your thyroid removed. And because of that, your body's not producing thyroxine. This is just an example of some of the decisions that we have made that affects us in the long term. And because of that, we have to take artificial thyroxine to live. And if we stop taking the thyroxine, it's a drug, we know it's a drug, we would die. So there are some instances when we have made decisions because doctors have told us you have no other choice, and it affects us significantly for the rest of our lives. And as a result of that, we have to take drugs, which is unfortunate.
Yes, absolutely.
True, that is a scary thought. It seems like it's a slippery slope. Once we get into the conventional medicine model, we easily can get caught up in something that we can't get out of.
Yeah, you're right, Q, because it takes a great amount of faith. It takes a great amount of faith to step out from that. But once you do, you do feel free. You do feel free. And I made a decision when I first took a few puffs of the salbutamol. I made a decision, and when I found that if I got on the bus, I started coughing. If I was running for the train, It was so embarrassing because my eyes is watering and it took me a while to settle. My breathing was absolutely terrible, and the wheezing. And you know what I said, Q and Brent? I actually said, there is absolutely no way I want to depend on something like this. There has to be a better way. There has to be a better way. And I made that decision not to use it, because I said, Lord, there has to be a better way. And thank the Lord, it was someone who, Jason Williams, who gave me a different way. As a medical missionary, he gave me a different way, and I've never looked back. And I have to also say to everyone, Lucille just came on, we see transformations all the time from our health residentials. Like I said before, Manor House is a health, education and wellness centre in Stoke-on-Trent. And even in my own practice, when I see the changes in people who have been on medication for years, and they just cannot believe that simple remedies, something so simple, can start to help them. Now, they don't completely come off their medication, but what they do, they take that herb that helps their body to get back into the metabolic state that it should. And then they realize that they could actually use the herb more than the medication. And some have even gone to the doctors, and the doctors have titrated and taken them off. I know someone who was on glycoside and is not on glycoside anymore. Why? Because their type 2 diabetes is being controlled through food, diet, lifestyle. And even a prominent MP, Labour MP, I forgot his name, some of you may know him, who decided to change his lifestyle, lost the weight, exercised, went into a plant-based diet. What's his name? Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton suffered a massive heart attack. He changed his ways. He changed his lifestyle because he didn't want to die. You know, God wants us to live. That is the most important thing. God wants us to live. Why should you die before your time, says the Bible.
Sure. Yeah, good point. Q, I see we've got Llewellyn's hand raised. I don't know if he has a question for Joan, and when I unmute him, or if he can unmute himself and ask his question.
Llewellyn, if you can go ahead and introduce yourself and ask the question.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Llewellyn. Joan. I'm really thankful that you had this information presented today. I'm grateful. And I've had talked to the people at Manor House that have been very helpful to me. And I like to say that I've been, on and off on doctors for over the years, but just the last year, I was able to lose 2 stone, and I do exercise on a regular basis and try to eat healthy. And went back to my doctor, and they was quite surprised. So now I'm weighing like 14 stone, as opposed to over 16 stone. And my cholesterol levels and blood pressures is pretty much to normal now. So
Amen.
I'm pretty sure it stopped from migraine headaches years ago. And again, I was holistic medicine. I was treated by that and was very successful. So I'm a great component of a holistic approach. I just want to let you know I appreciate it. And I'm originally live in Nottingham, but I'm born in Bermuda. Yeah. And I met some
Llewellyn, we seem to have lost you there for a second.
great people in England and been exposed to a lot of good information. So you lost me?
Oh, we
can hear me now?
You're back.
Hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I sent my email address in to get more updates when you have these sessions again. Like I said, I live in Nottingham, but I was born in Bermuda. So I'm really grateful for all the information and the people I met in the UK, and you're very spot on with all the things that you teach. I want to just thank you all for your assistance and your blessings, and have a happy Sabbath, okay?
Yes, you too. Thank you, Llewellyn.
Thanks, you're welcome.
Thank you, Llewellyn. That's a very inspiring testimony. 2 stone is a lot of a loss in 1 year. Congratulations, and congratulations on that improvement in health, and may God be with you and always improving your health continually.
Yeah, and I get on my scale every day to make sure I don't gain any more weight. So I'm very serious about it.
That's good. That's good. It's good that you have an aversion with the scale. It's good to be friends with it. Jacqueline, I see your hand there. Before you come up, I just wanted to say, Sister Joan, you spoke about Jason Williams having come, and Jason Williams has had that kind of impact on a few of us. And I just wanted to put a plug here on somebody that he works with. And if you're in South Africa, I know you can get a copy of this, but I'm not sure about the UK. But this is Dr. Homotso. She works with Jason, and
Yes.
she's been on the show before, and she speaks about the breakdown of disease exactly as you spoke about it and its progression in this book. So those of you perhaps who might be interested, I guess you could just put your details in the chat. But I know that that's something that Jason and Dr. Homotso, have been a positive impact here in South Africa in
Yes.
terms of the holistic healing space.
Yes, 2012 is when Jason came and did an introduction to medical missionary work in England, in Nottingham. And that is when I became very, very interested in the medical missionary work. And do you know what? Just like Naaman, who went into the river, who went into the river and dipped 7 times, and then his skin was clean like a baby. But then he went back with all of his horsemen and went back and thanked and said he now knows that there is no other God on the face of the earth but the God of Israel, because he saw something that made, something so simple as hydrotherapy made such an influence on his life. And that is exactly what happened to me. Something so simple as a parasite cleanse and lemon and warm water 30 minutes before breakfast for 2 weeks detoxified me and made a difference. I also want to add, TTI has had some wonderful testimonies. I think I see the face of one of them. I can't remember his name, who gave his testimony when he did the testimony week. That was amazing, where people were talking about some of the transformations they've had. And they were talking, it was based on natural, simple remedies that help change their life. Because once you change your lifestyle, your mind follows. You have to realize the science of how God has made our body. Once the healing takes place, your mind and your soul and your body becomes one, and you become more sensitive. You become more sensitive to the voice of God, and then you want to get into the work, because you're saying, well, if this did this for me, I have got to share it with others. And that is exactly what Jesus said. Go share it. Paul says, testify and strengthen one another with your testimonies. It's very, very important.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jacqueline, over to you. Just tell us a bit about yourself, and then you may ask your question. And then after Jacqueline, Janet.
Okay, thank you. My name is Jacqueline. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
I actually came on a little bit late because I had another meeting, but I'm so glad that I did. Thank you for the presentation. It was really wonderful. So apologies for my lateness, and I'm hoping that I can get hold of a recording
yes,
somewhere.
It'll be on YouTube.
Thank you. This is really refreshing for me, because I've been promote health in my church for so many years now, and it is a little bit of a struggle. I started my health journey, myself and my sons, because we have a serious medical condition in our family, and we started our health journey around about 2010. So we've been doing this for a while, and my son actually now is a naturopathic nutrition.
Amen.
But one of the things that I think is really important is that there are some great doctors out there. But I think unless you have a natural practitioner, most doctors, when they study medicine. they don't study health, and they are two quite different things. And I've always said to people that we should know our bodies better than the doctors do.
Yes.
Because the doctors have the knowledge of our bodies and how they work. As an individual, it's important for us to know our bodies better than the doctors do. And I do like what was said about questioning doctors, because we tend very often to just take what they say and not question. And I think that is really important, especially in this time that we are in. So thank you all
Yes.
so much. I will keep coming. Thank you for putting some links in the chat room. I would like to know if there are any other, maybe if I can put my email in the chat, you can send me some more information about what you do, because I would actually like to find out a bit more,
Yes.
and to learn a
Lovely.
bit more and to share.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great group. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacqueline. It's interesting you mentioned that, Jacqueline, because what we find in our practice, and I know Lucille can even affirm that, is, and other, some of my medical missionary colleagues that are on the forum right now, is that people are more inclined to ask more questions of medical missionaries and therapists and nutritionists than they are of the doctor. Sometimes you say, well, listen, I know I can get that swelling down on your ankle. Oh, do you? So what are you going to use? Cabbage. I'm going to take cabbage and I'm going to use a rolling pin and beat it a little to get the juice out of it. And then I'm going to place it on the ankle. So what qualifies you to tell me that cabbage is helpful and will work? But when a doctor hands you a long list of a prescription, that is, some of the side effects is like touching the ground. You say, okay, doctor, and when do you want me to start?
We don't read the side effects. We don't even read the side effects.
Exactly, and we don't read the side effects. Now, there are many doctors, and I have to say, you mentioned something, Jacqueline, and it is the truth, because, I've worked alongside doctors from a project management point of view. I had an opportunity to train as a registered nurse, and I did not. So most of my career has been bedside nursing. But one thing is for sure, many of them, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them, they do like to give their patients as much information as possible to help them on their way. There are some that will refrain from giving medication until they've exhausted all other efforts. Yes. For example, I visited with someone who had to go to A&E because their blood pressure was very, very, very low, and no matter what was done, it couldn't bring it up. And you know what that young doctor said to that person? Please drink more water. Drink more water and come back in 2 weeks. Come and see me back in 2 weeks. Another person, this is someone close to me, who had a stroke, a mini stroke. One of my male relatives had a mini stroke. And I went with him for his appointment for a checkup because he was in the hospital. And you know what the doctor said to him? You need more vitamin D. He didn't give him a prescription. He says, you need more vitamin D. Try and get out in the sun more. Try and get out into the fresh air more. There are some doctors who will exhaust all other efforts before they give you that, prescription. There are some. And then there are many whose life, unfortunately, depends on promoting quite a lot of the drugs.
Thank you, Sister Joan. Janet, you may unmute and tell us a bit about yourself.
Hello there, my name is Janet. I'm calling from the UK. Thank you so much, Joan, for your presentation. It was very much appreciated. Lots of information to digest. Just one thing I wanted to emphasise, and I don't wish to be controversial in any sense at all.
That's quite fine. Go ahead.
Okay. It's just something I just like to bring up, and I know that you believe this, but I just wanted to emphasise it. I know that there was a concentration on the fact that Biggs and bentonite clay and hydrotherapy work, and they do work, and the benefits of them, and the minerals, etc., that may be in for example the clay, etc. But I think what I would like to emphasize is the fact that when Jesus healed, or when he asked Naaman to go and cleanse himself, I think maybe not knowing, I'm not a medical person at all, but knowing that, for example, leprosy is something, difficult to get rid of. I'm just thinking, one session of hydrotherapy, is that what really cured Naaman? Or was it the fact it was the power behind the water, the creator God who created the water and actually caused the healing, with the, God being the God of healing. And similarly with the figs and also with the clay, is that God can use any method, any means to bring about healing. And so I see it's more the power of God, and he can utilize some of these various things, whatever it might be, for our benefit. But in all cases, it is God who heals, and it's not the things that are used. And so I know that you, I've listened to you on previous presentations, I do know that you believe that, but I just wanted to emphasize it because it seemed to be a little bit more skewed towards these things that we're healing.
Yeah, actually, you made a very good point. And I remember Maimon Wilson saying something when we did some training with him. And you know what he said? He said, herbs are just tools to strengthen our faith in God. Now, there are times when people will want to be healed and cured, but they don't believe that it will work for them. And sometimes it just doesn't. It is based on our faith in the natural remedies that God has provided that brings the cure and the healing. And I've said this time and time again. For me, from a personal experience, and even for the people I have lived with in my life, and I've come across, I have seen that. I know that when I meet with someone and do a consultation with them and give them the herbs that will help, when they do not have the faith that that process is going to work, when they do not become obedient to that process, they get worse or it doesn't work. It is very, very vitally important to all of the people that are listening right now. If I say to you that cabbage poultice is very helpful, onion poultice is very helpful. If I say to you oregano oil is excellent for your respiratory system if you come down with breathing issues, if I say all of that and you're like, yeah, right, or that's impossible, then you do not have the faith to believe. But when you're obedient to the natural remedies that God has provided, the Bible has a plethora of information that shows the faith that people have had in the simple things that God has provided. They are cured and they are healed. That is my answer. That is my answer. So anyone can pick up clay. Anyone can pick up cabbage poultice. Anybody can go in the River Jordan. It is about the faith behind it. It is about the faith behind it. And God's word never returns to him void. I know plenty of people who have received restoration, not just through the tool, because then that would be not glorifying God. It is the faith behind using that tool and that remedy that has helped them to be restored.
Great. Thank you for that, Joan. Before we go to you, Ashanti Wilson, I do see your hand and a couple other hands. I just want to read one or two quick questions that we have in the chat. Yes, you're welcome to also pose your questions in the chat. And one of these is from Paul Bota out here in South Africa. Please advise if Alzheimer's and dementia in the elderly can be treated by natural herbs or oils.
Now then, that there is a presentation that I believe TTI has done. I think, on Alzheimer's. It was Maimon Williams. It was Maimon Wilson, sorry.
Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you please advise him to go onto your YouTube channel and search Alzheimer's, and he will find that, because I don't really want to repeat it. I believe that was a very good presentation.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Great. So Paul Bota, yes, please go onto our YouTube channel. In fact, this is an invitation to everybody here. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. All these conversations that we have are there also on our YouTube channel, so you can reference them back there. And if you have perhaps a topic that you feel that you're inquiring about, you might have covered it already. I also just want to advise that if we have any sort of personal questions that might need consultation, Joan, will you be able to leave your details in the chat?
Yes, my details are actually at the end of my slide, so I'll put that up. Q, can I just go back quickly? Sure. I want to go back to what I said pertaining to what Jacqueline said, and it just crossed my mind, and I don't want your audience to leave without this. Do you know something? Let's consider that the person is healed from using a poultice, or using hydrotherapy, or using the clay. And then they go off and continue in the same habits that made them ill in the first place. Or let's consider this, that they receive the poultices, they get the clay, they are relieved of their symptoms, but actually they don't appreciate it. It is so necessary for us to understand that these herbs and simple remedies comes from our Heavenly Father, and they are mentioned in the Bible, and He's provided many books for us to continue the healing arts. It is very important to understand that He has given us this temple. He has given us this temple to glorify Him and no one else. And it is, you know why we have gotten to this position, people? You know why we have gotten to this state? Because we have been brought up to believe that God cannot do nothing for us, that God cannot do nothing for us, that the wonderful sun He has put in the sky, that actually cleans the air through its rays, the wonderful water He has given us, because our body is made up of 75% water and the earth is made up of 75% water. He wants us to appreciate all of the beautiful animals, the beautiful greenery. Our eyes were made to see green. Did you know that? Our eyes, scientists have said our eyes were made to appreciate greenery, the countryside, the beautiful air. All of those things is to glorify God. And we are being brought up to believe that God cannot help us and cannot heal us or cure us, because it has been stolen from us. That ability to have that choice has been taken away from us. And right now, we are in tumultuous times, and I don't even have to go any further with that. And choice is being slowly taken away. So when Romans chapter 12 says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto Him, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds. And is now changed to, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of man, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice to us. To us. The body belongs to God, and it is our duty to make sure that He is glorified through it. We cannot worship God with sickly minds and sickly bodies. It is up to us to switch it, transform your minds, and to depend on the God who gave you life.
Thank you. That's some food for thought, and I think it's worth reiterating to say that these remedies that we've been presented with are not just, they're not efficacious in and of themselves, but God has given them to us. And therefore, a relationship with God is a good place to start when engaging the remedy. It's a very good place to start. Ashante Wilson and then Debs, I saw a question quickly. I'm just going to answer that. Manor House was the center that's been referenced a couple of times. Manor House in Staffordshire. Did I say that correctly? Staffordshire?
Yes.
Yeah, Manor House. Over to you, Ashanti.
Hi, my name is Ashanti, and I live in Lincoln, which is in Lincolnshire.
Hi.
Hi.
So I just want to say, speaking of the World Health Organization and the pharmaceutical industry, I've been reading up that they are much pretty against the use of natural remedies and herbs as well. So,
Ashanti,
hello.
I've been muted. I just want to say, ever since lockdown, I've been getting into herbs, and I've been searching if there is really healing herbs around, because I thought it was just fairy tales. So I found that it's actually real as well, and not just in fairy tales.
Yeah.
So it just makes me, like, it encourages me to, like, actually grow my home remedies at home in my garden.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. No, go on, Q. No, go on, Q.
I fully agree with you, Ashanti, that sometimes the establishments may have rules because they have certain protocols that they're going to follow. But I love what Joan put in the presentation, the quotation that says that our health is our responsibility. So ultimately, at the end of the day, the onus is on us to research and find the natural remedies that can speak to our condition.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Great. Debs. I see Debs.
Yeah. Hello, this isn't Debs, this is Leroy. I am in London, England, and I do not have a medical background. So just leave that there for now. Now, thank you for your presentation. There are just some concerns that I have. And the first one that I would raise is that you speak about cure. I believe that when the doctors or anyone gives you any form of drugs or anything else, they never ever mention the word cure, because cure is a specific thing and we hear about it in the Bible. I don't believe that any of us ever gets cured. It's only Yeshua that spoke about curing individuals, as did Paul. So I think when within your presentation, the clarity that you laid against the medical field in relation to cure, people being cured or people being on medication for 30, 40 or whatever years and not being cured, I think is disingenuous, because what they actually say is that you can live a reasonable life taking the medication. They don't try to cure you. So I think we need to be clear about that. Cure isn't something that they have in their power to do. They can assist you to live a reasonable life. They can assist you to get over something that may be ailing you, but you can live with it. But they don't talk about curing you. As Paul said, he has a thorn in his side, and God made him live with it, because there are some times that we have situations in our lives, things that are hindering us, but we have to learn to live with it. Now, as I said, I don't have a medical background. However, I have been in the hospitals and various other things with doctors lately. And yes, one thing that is clear is that whenever you have or they give you any medication, you do need to understand what the medication does and the side effects. And the thing you need to understand about the side effects is that the whole list doesn't apply to everybody. Some people may suffer I suppose, chills or dryness or raised blood pressure or whatever, but that is, or vomiting, but that isn't everybody. Everybody's biology and body system is different. One major thing that would assist every individual is if they have the right amount of water throughout the day, and also get the amount of rest that our bodies deserve and need. Rest, water, proper foods. So foods without a lot of the preservatives will benefit us. And I understand that you might be saying about vegetarianism. However, with the vegetables that are grown today, they have a lot of preservatives and everything else to keep them. So unless you have you live in a climate where you can grow your own and live on it, it's going to be very difficult for us to maintain that sort of lifestyle. All we can do is to do the things best for us at any time. And that includes certain drugs. So painkillers we may need, but we don't live on them. For if you get something, you have it for a couple of hours, maybe a day. So we need to be clear about what we're saying, and don't be disingenuous about the drugs. I'm not saying all drugs are good, because they are toxic to the body, but then so are some plants. That's it.
Can I make a statement?
Sorry?
Can I just respond to just the point that you've made there?
You can.
And I think it's a profound point that you've made, because it is true. Not every drug is terrible, but I think maybe the process in terms of drugs and alternative, which I think is the ethos of the presentation, in the sense is, should we be leaning more towards the alternative than towards what's currently out there? And I say that in the presence of understanding that God is saying he understands the current situation. He understands that some of us are not in the environment where sunshine can grow our foods, but isn't it his desire that we aim to be in those places, or that we aim to have a more simpler diet? That's kind of a question. So we should be aiming to that.
Yes, and I agree. So the main fact there is that, and the scripture was read, but you'll be healed by the renewing of your mind and of your spirit. And that is fact. It's about changing your attitude towards things. Now, living a healthier life. And as I say, that I suppose if we were all to look at the actual times that we go to bed and the times we wake up in the morning, and the amount of rest that we physically get in comparison to the work that we do. And I'm sure that the majority of us will be failing on that side, because you should have minimum of 7-8 hours. And because of the stresses, I suppose, of life, we sort of cut corners. And maybe on Sabbath, we might have a lie-in, maybe, but then sometimes Sabbath can be more hectic than other days, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah. So that's the very point. I think the whole point is God is trying to restore in man what he originally planned for man to have. He doesn't want us to cut corners. He doesn't want us to have a half life. He wants us to have the full life. And that goes down to what we eat, our lifestyle, the kind of jobs that we have, and ultimately our environment. So, we all know that we're preparing our minds physically and spiritually, and our bodies and our families for a greater experience. And it's often said we should be experiencing heaven on earth. Now, the usual 9-to-5 job, just waiting in traffic, the coming home, the less time you spend with your family, the rushing up and down is not the ideal. And hence, country living, how we mentally absorb life is meant to be the focus that we should be striving for. So that renewed life takes a lot of effort, but the benefit is that we become renewed again. And I think that's what God is trying to restore in us. He doesn't want us to depend on the drugs and society. Yes, some of us are dependent on those things, but I think I heard Joan say before that she knew someone who just ceased from doing it. And if there are people that can then cease from it, then that shows that God's original healing is meant to be in our society, and it's what we should be promulgating at this point in time. And of course, it takes trust and it takes faith. But yeah, that's my point on that.
So thank you for that last point. I just wanted to point Leroy to something perhaps he can research so that we don't monopolize the whole conversation.
Yeah, but just before you say
Leroy,
that,
second, if you could just look up the Blue Zone studies and look at the practices that you have. So some of the more popular blue zones are Okinawa in Japan or Sardinia out in southern Italy. You have a particular blue zone, which is not just a question of culture and something that they've handed down through tradition, but is actually a question of choice in lifestyle, and that's in Loma Linda, California. Just perhaps have a quick, just do a Google search on Loma Linda, California.
I've been to I've been to Loma Linda many years ago. With the body, the only thing that heals the body is the body. So when you go into hospital, they put you in comas and everything else. They're not doing anything. They're just feeding the body with the nutrients that the body needs, and the body heals itself. So at the end of the day, the only thing that we can do is give the body the rest or the things that it needs, the food that it needs for it to heal itself.
Excellent. And the best person to give the ideal conditions for the body would be the creator of the body, which is our God. But I want to move on to the next person who had sort of a question, and that was in our chat. And the question was something regarding hypertension, to say, what can my husband take to manage his hypertension? Over to you.
I you know, Q, and to the listeners, respectfully, I will not be giving any information with regards to how you can reduce your husband's hypertension, etc. Simply because I don't have any information. It wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair to have the platform where there's quite a number of people to try to ascertain the issue behind his high blood pressure, etc. So I would say make contact with me separately.
Could I also mention that TTI did a presentation about hypertension, and if they refer back to that YouTube, they can pick it up. It was called, I think, Hypertension, the Silent Assassin.
And it was an excellent presentation.
Yes, and all the information is in that presentation.
Yes, great. Thank you. And then the next question that we have is from Vicky Wright, and she asks, what is the difference between get better and cure? Because that is what they tell me. I accept that if the two words are different to me. So what is the difference between get better and cure?
I can only answer that question with this response: prevention is better than cure. You know, there is such a saying, prevention is better than cure. Most of us in the naturopathic field or natural remedies field, we aim to teach better ways of living, and we aim to help people to take better control of their lifestyle so that they can enjoy their life in a far better, more productive and healthful way. So prevention is always better than cure. And responding to some of the comments that was made earlier, I can only give the testimony of myself, and I consider myself to be a living testimony. And I can only go by the testimonies of those people I've come in contact with, who I know are not using medication based on the total change in their lifestyle and habits and their faith in God. And I'll leave it there.
Can I interject here, Q?
Sure.
Okay. From listening to what the two gentlemen were saying, what Joan was saying, look, not being biased about natural remedies or pharmaceutical remedies now, but we need to look at what are we treating? Are we just treating the symptoms, or are we actually treating the cause of where the disease is coming from? What questions are we asking with regards to the person's lifestyle, with regards to what they're currently doing, what they may be having in excess, what they're overdoing. So it's what we need to be looking at from a holistic point of view and a general lifestyle point of view, and can we treat the actual cause and not just the symptoms, which we do find happens a lot of the time. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely, Brent.
Thank you for that one, Brent. It reminds me of a verse, Proverbs 26, verse 2, which says, "So the curse causeless cometh not." So nothing comes on without a cause, and it is up to us to ascertain the cause and address that, than to address just the symptom and leave the underlying cause.
And also just to add, Paul Q had a question earlier about Alzheimer's. We sent him a link. You can also go onto the YouTube channel and go back to our website and view all the past presentations. And Mama Wilson did one on Alzheimer's. He also asked about the book, and I've got Paul's number, Q, that we can send the book that Dr. from Dr. in Durban. So he's interested in getting her book. So I'll send you his number, then you can maybe send it onto Paul.
Excellent. I don't know if Dr. Mohape is still on the. She was on a bit earlier, so I don't know if she's still on. But I know I have the physical copy, but maybe she could just advise us on how to get the soft copy so that it could go much further and wider.
Okay. But I've got Paul's number, so yes, we'll communicate with you.
Yes, I see, Ashante, your hand is up.
I've got a question here. Just wondering, is there any natural remedy for psoriasis?
Joan?
Sorry, what's your name? My
name's Ashanti, and I would like to know if there's any natural remedy for psoriasis.
Ashanti, can you, I'm going to leave my details. Can you contact me after the show, please?
Okay, I haven't got anything to write down, so I'll get something to write down.
Great, okay. And then Janet, I see your hand is up as well.
Yes, hi. I just have another comment that I'd like to make, and it's with regards to natural therapeutics, is that it's quite possible to use natural therapeutics very much in an allopathic way. So you eat and you do all that, all that you wish to do, maybe during a period of time, especially for festive periods like Christmas, with the intention that in January, I'm going to have a cleanse. And so oftentimes it's a way of sort of, I'll abuse the body or I'll do what I want to do, but I do know that I can take some sort of natural therapy, and that can help me feel better. And in the same way that maybe someone may not utilize allopathic drugs such as paracetamol or ibuprofen or something like that, but they may use a natural therapy, which is an analgesic or a painkiller, and they still haven't got to the cause of why, or they still haven't put in place something to stop what is causing those symptoms to occur. So in summary, it's just natural therapeutics potentially can be used in an allopathic way.
Thank you for that, Janet. All right, I'm just going through the chat again and seeing what more questions we might have. For those who want to contact Joan directly, her email is in the chat. I'm just going to spell it out once. It's holistiqueu@gmail. That's holistiqueuyouu@gmail.com. holistiqueu@gmail.com.
Yeah,
do we have any questions? Sorry, go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, there was a question in the chat from Tabisa in South Africa with regards to her husband and high blood pressure. He's on medication at the moment, and he's looking at natural remedies. So you can maybe also take down Joan's email address was just posted in the chat. So Tabisa, you can maybe contact Joan directly and she can assist you with that.
And also the video that Lucille alluded to earlier on hypertension, if you could take a look at that.
yes.
because it's got some excellent information there as well. And I believe that TTI had Barbara O'Neill on the show a few weeks ago, and she was also talking about hypertension. She mentioned hawthorn berry, hawthorn tea, I remember.
Great, great. Thank you. So please have a look. That's even more encouragement to, again, go through our past programs and just have a look at what we've covered before. Some of these topics, of course, we will revisit. And speaking of the future, next week, remember, as we pointed out at the beginning, we've got a speaker on dental health. We've got a conversation on dental health with Dr. Travis Tremel. Dr. Travis Tremel is going to be speaking to us on dental health. So that's one that you don't want to miss. Are there any more questions? Anybody else perhaps who's got something that they just want to say?
I'd like to share something with everybody, if I may, Q.
Sure.
Yeah, I've lost quite a lot of weight since I've come back to South Africa from the UK. As you know, I arrived back here in December 2020, and I've always weighed around about 82, 83 kilograms. And since I've been back now, it's been about 7 months, I've come all the way down to 75 kilograms. And I wasn't sure why. And I went along to one of our natural pharmacies here in our hometown, and they've had a machine that you can put your hand on, and they do something called urology, where they look at your eye and they can tell, issues with regards to your body and what have you, and pick up symptoms or what have you. And the reading came back that I was deficient in something called selenium. Joan, if you can maybe mention if you know much about that, but apparently it's due to the thyroid and also the memory function and what have you. So I'm going to be smarter now that I'm supplementing on selenium, apparently. And then also interesting one, Q, I was deficient in vitamin D3.
Oh.
And although I surf and I'm going to the sun, but I've got a wetsuit on normally, so only my face and my hands are in the sun. And I'm in the sun at least, I'm surfing at least once a week. And obviously that's not enough. So you've got to be lying in the sun to get enough vitamin D3. So that came up as I was deficient in that. They picked up I had a parasite. No, because I got rid of my parasites when I was in the UK that I picked up when I used to eat raw fish, when I used to eat sushi years ago. And I thought I got rid of all the parasites, but lo and behold, I had a parasite. And then they also picked up that I had issues with my liver that I'm now busy detoxing, and I don't drink. So there we go. And then they also, interesting enough, they did a blood test, and not too off to the lab, but they just put that under a microscope, and they can check your blood cells if they're all clotting and sticking together or if they're separate. And they picked up that they were sticking together, and that also was linked to my stomach acid not being sufficient. And they gave me a test to do, which was with bicarbonate soda. So first thing in the morning, you drink a quarter to a half a teaspoon of bicarbonate soda with a glass of water. And if you belch within 2 minutes, that means that your stomach is producing enough acid for you to digest your food naturally. And if you don't burp within, say, 3 to 5 minutes, then maybe you need to then look at your stomach acid and how it's producing acid to digest your food. So yeah, so since then I've done a deworming tablet. I didn't go naturally. I've just done that, and I've been supplementing, and I've been feeling a lot better. So yeah, they're just something that I've sorted out this last week that I'll share with everybody.
That's excellent, Brent. And you've managed to do it through changing or making changes to your diet and making additions to your lifestyle.
Yes, another thing that they picked up was gluten. I'm actually gluten intolerant, and I didn't ever think I was. And they can pick that up. And I eat a lot of rye bread, but apparently the rye bread's got gluten in it. So now I'm trying to source a bakery that actually bakes a gluten-free rye bread. Yeah.
Thank you for that, man. And look, I'm glad to hear that you identified the problem and that you're doing something to rectify it. That's wonderful. I think I'm due for my checkup. I'm just very reticent to go to the doctor, but you're inspiring me right now to do something very soon.
Yes, Q, and you know, it was 400 rand. What is that in pounds? Not a lot of money. And it was a consultation at the health pharmacy with this machine, and it gives you all the readings, percentage-wise, if you're deficient or if your readings are fine. So it gives you a percentage. You go into the red or the green, and then they can recommend health, remedies and give recommendations on how to assist you naturally, which is brilliant. Which is what
excellent.
I'm looking for. Yeah.
Excellent.
Can I share something? I'd like to share something here. My name is Sharon. I live in London. Some years ago, I had a very, very bad flu. Went to the doctor and they prescribed, she gave me salbutamol, the blue inhaler and the brown inhaler to take. And, I was taking these things for a while and I noticed that, my breathing was still not good. After the flu went, my breathing got bad. And, I decided after a while, I took it for about 2 years. And I decided to just chuck them, stop taking them. And I changed my diet. I stopped drinking milk. And I started to use lemon and ginger quite a few times, and honey. And now I have no problem with my breathing. The problem is still there because I was diagnosed with lung fibrosis. I could hardly breathe at one stage. And since I started to take the lemon and ginger, my breathing got better. My chest doesn't feel tight. And, it does work. And I noticed that a year ago, my son he had the same problem. He had the flu and the doctor prescribed I saw him with the blue one, the salbutamol, I think that is. And
yes, it is.
Yes, I told him not to take it. Don't take it because of what happened to me. And he didn't. And he's fine. So I strongly believe that those salbutamol that they're giving people for, chest problem or bad flu, they're no good.
Yes, I always say to people also, Sharon, that if before they decide to come off any medication, they must always speak to their physician and let them know that they're no longer going to be on it. And I'll say that to your viewers because everyone's experiences are different.
Yes, yeah, I know you usually do that. And I just stop. I have no problem now. My breathing is much better. I still, I have to do a yearly lung function. And my breathing is much better. And
Praise God.
It's just there, it doesn't move. It doesn't get worse and doesn't get better. It's just natural, it's neutral. It just it's there because the damage was already done.
Yeah, it takes a great amount of faith. I remember someone says faith follows conviction, and this subject, the original medicine, is at times it's difficult for people to understand, especially those who depend on medication just to have a normal standard of life. So it seems very far-fetched when there are people out there who actually make a claim and say, actually, I have improved, my lifestyle has improved, my health has improved because I've made these simple changes. I've made these changes in my life. And I no longer need to depend on it. And God knew this. God knows this. Even from ancient times, it takes a great amount of faith to actually believe that God's way is the best way. And I've experienced that. Now, I also want to add that in acute circumstances, in emergencies, there are some treatments that has its place in the allopathic world. What we're saying is maintenance. Continual maintenance of your body should not be dependent on something that will give you side effects. And like I said, I'm speaking from experience. I actually gained a lot of weight when I was on salbutamol, and they call it the preventer, which is the brown one. And remember, these things contain steroids as well. So from my experience, I didn't want to be on it because of the side effects. And I have people close to me, like I said before, who don't want those side effects. Some of them have terrible side effects. They just don't want it. There are people that says, look, I want to come off my medication. I'm tired of it. I can see what it's doing to my body. What do you say to those people who want to come off it? No, well, you've got to stay on it for life. No, you say, let's find a better way of helping you, but it will take a lot of effort on your part to change your lifestyle and to implement simple things that can help you on the road to recovery or restoration.
Definitely.
Thank you for that, Joan. Thank you for that statement. I think one of the things that we have in this in life now is we're always so busy, or we've prioritized certain things in our life, and so we think that we're too busy to actually take a moment and do what it takes to get well. It takes time, it takes effort, and we are used to, you know, something that just happens quickly, and we want a fast food health, you know, a quick takeaway health.
World, don't you? Live in an instant world.
Yes, that's it. Like, give me the magic pill, and I should be fine. And that's what we want. But I want to carry on living life as carelessly as I was. Yet maybe we've been abusing the body, knowingly or unknowingly, for many years. And now to undo this usually actually takes less time than it did to do the damage. But we don't see that because we've only seen the symptom more recently. And then it appears to us as if, oh, the healing takes forever. No, if you think about it, if you've actually been abusing your body your entirety of your life, doing the wrong things without knowing it, and then your healing is going to take 5 years. 5 years is a very short time span compared to the entirety of your life that you've been abusing the body. It's just we want something that fixes the symptom immediately or in the next couple of days. Debs, I see once more your hand is up.
Yes, it's me. Thank you, my sister, for the clarification there. I appreciate it. Just one thing I would like to say about selenium. Well, not selenium, but vitamin E. Now, this is pertinent to men. Okay, when men get to a certain age, they can have issues with the prostate. So if you are taking vitamin E, you should take vitamin E with selenium that my brother Brent was just talking about. So if you are taking vitamin E, it should have a component of selenium with it, because in so doing, it will aid the prostate rather than aggravating it and allowing it to grow.
So if one is not taking vitamin E and you're only taking selenium as a supplement, do you have to then also take vitamin E, or are you okay?
No. If selenium's fine, but if you are taking vitamin E, if for whatever reason you're taking vitamin E, selenium needs to be with it.
I see. Interesting.
Okay.
Thank you.
But obviously, research it anyway. What I would say to men, research it, but yeah, I'm aware of that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who's been participating. Thank you especially to Joan Cornwall. Thank you, Joan, for a wonderful presentation. It's been eye-opening and certainly has teased the old gray matter to actually research a little bit more, particularly on conventional medicine versus the original medicine that our Creator had in mind for us.
Which is not alternative medicine. We've got it back to front and upside down.
Oh, yes.
It is not the alternative medicine.
Tell us what it is, Sister Joan. Give us the right terminology.
It is God's original medicine. It is not alternative.
Amen.
Okay. And like I said before, it's a subject that a lot of people find difficult to comprehend, simply because there's always been one way, and then the other way is called alternative. But actually, if we went back to the way it should be, then the other one would be the alternative. And we are living in tumultuous times, unprecedented times. And there's coming a time when if you do not believe in taking specific drugs, then the possibility is you will lose your rights. And these are the serious times that we're living in, people. So who do we depend on? God or man? But for those who decide that they are going to go God's way, there are challenging times ahead, because there are some places already you cannot go into a shopping mall, you can't go into the cinema, you can't be let into large events unless you think another way. And
yes, and Joan, I think, Joan, I think the biggest problem is, like you pointed out, that everyone wants that magic pill and they want to be fixed now, to live in an instant world, and they don't give the natural remedies or the natural path the time that it needs to be able to take its course and to have it take its effect. And I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of people that are struggling with issues. They don't give it the time, and like you said, they don't believe, and they're not coming from that mindset that it's going to work, and put it in front of the Lord and pray about it. So I think it's a big issue with regards to people are conditioned that they're coming off that pull fix it, that quick fix sort of mentality, that they need to give it time. So
a natural approach to, say, like a hydrotherapy treatment or a steam or making a poultice, or you're making salves, it takes a lot longer than 5 minutes. You know, putting water in a glass and putting something in your mouth. It takes time and effort, as you said, and the better
for it to work, for it to actually take effect as well.
It takes exactly, absolutely. Yeah, but thank you for having me on TTI. Keep up the good work. I'm proud of you all. I do hear a lot of people who mentions TTI even in my normal day-to-day duties, and it makes me smile. So you are reaching quite a number of people, and my prayer is that for my friends out there, that they start to think seriously about who do we actually serve, and because things are changing quite quickly, and before you know it, people will turn against one another simply because one decides to live one way of life, and the other one decides that, well, God's way is the best way. And so our strength and our help comes from the Lord. And my prayer is that you receive something out of this presentation today. And I wish you all a blessed week. Go out and enjoy the wonderful sunshine wherever you are in the world. Certainly in Britain, we're all out there because, it's something that we don't see every day. So God bless you.
May I just ask, just before we depart, would it be possible, Joan, just to, I put a question in the chat with regards to the diagnostic tool that Brent used. Are you aware of what that's called?
Oh no, I'm not aware. Brent, the diagnostic tool.
I think Brent responded in the message to say he wasn't aware of what
okay.
There are various tools that I've seen over the years. How this one worked is it's sort of you can imagine a mouse that you use for your PC, and you put your hand on it. It's like a probe, and it seems to read your body basically through this probe, which then goes onto the PC, and all these readings came up, and then we had our consultation. Then afterwards, you did the urology, which is where they take a photo of your pupil, and then they can see the way your veins and the way your sort of veins are netted, and they can then pick up issues with your body through that photograph of your pupil. And one thing that was highlighted was that I've got an excess amount of mercury in my body from my fillings, and the only way to get that sorted is to remove the fillings, which is quite a process. So I don't know what that machine's called, but I have seen them over the years. And if you did reach out to ourselves, we can then come back to you and find out for you which of the centers are using these machines, and then you can possibly reach out to them for a consultation. I think that'll be the best way to do it.
Yeah, and you've got the dentist coming on next week.
Oh yeah,
You've got a dentist coming on next week. Yeah, so
yeah, I do. I do need to go for a filling, but it looks like it's gonna be a lot more than just that. Yes. So,
yeah. Yeah. We actually use something called RBTI at Manor House, and
Okay.
what we do, we look at we assess the urine and the saliva. So
Okay.
that's what we use at Manor House.
Yeah, and it's quite a process. The person at a consultation with said you can't just go to a dentist. It's got to be to a oral hygienist, because it's quite a serious process with regards to removing those fillings. And it was mentioned that if you try and detox from the mercury, it's like a vicious cycle where you try and detox. It's trying to get out of your system, and it gets trapped in your colon again. It's quite a difficult one to detox from this mercury poisoning from the filling. So I suppose it is best to get them removed, but when that gets done, it needs to be done properly. Otherwise, you can also endanger yourself through that process of removing those fillings. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
The actual process of removing them is far more dangerous, especially if they've been in your body for a very, very, very long time.
Which they have. Yeah. So can you make any recommendations on that with regards to the actual detoxing of the mercury?
No, but I remember speaking to a couple of dentists when I trained with Mayman Wilson in Switzerland. So they were dentists, and they actually said don't touch it, because the chances are, if it's been in your mouth for decades, the chances are you will disrupt it, and the chances are maybe some of it's already leaked into your body system anyway over the decades. Is what was the advice that they gave us.
Yeah, I've heard that as well in the past, so that's why I haven't had them removed. So
all right, thank you once again. I just wanted to say in summary, I guess, the conversation of original medicine versus being called alternative medicine versus conventional medicine is something that there's an underlying principle I believe we should apply in our everyday lives, and that is that, are we given the tools to critically think about issues if we're only told one side of the story? If you've gone to school and all you've ever heard about is the pharmaceutical model and pharmacological approach to medicine, and you have not heard this side, does that mean this is the alternative? There are other aspects in life as well where we're taught just one thing. We're taught evolution only, for example, and not taught the Genesis story. And you have to ask yourself, is this not a narrative being shaped in my head? Am I being given the necessary tools to adjudicate for myself and critically look at both, and then pick one for myself and see which path I'm going to take in life? Thank you once more, Joan. Thanks, Brent. Thank you to the team, the TTI team. Thank you to everyone who's been participating. And thank you to those who are quiet as well. We know that you're with us and that you have thoughts on these matters. Please engage with us further on the groups. These conversations always go beyond just this 2-hour slot that we have right now. So we are going to wrap up officially, or rather formally, our conversation. But you're welcome to now come to unmute your microphone and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and perhaps how you heard about TTI or how you came across us.
Good. Thanks, Joan.
Bye. We're traveling, so see you soon. See you all soon. Have a blessed week. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
So bye-bye, everyone on YouTube. Sorry, let me put my camera on. Go meeting. Oh, that's fine. You stopped it.
It still says live, top left corner, YouTube.
If our YouTube audience is still seeing this, thank you very much. We're now going to stop the YouTube recording. The Zoom conversation goes on for a few more minutes as we allow.